What's up, you fools? It's Matt, ESC United, your favorite Eurovision channel. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Mattitude, the Eurovision live stream where we talk about the Eurovision news of the week. And I don't have to do this on my own because it's kind of boring. I brought my buddy Roy. You've seen him before. He has been on our live streams quite a bit, a valued member of the ESC United team. How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm doing decent. I've had a few things this week, but it's all good because Eurovision is back, and I couldn't be happier to be in a live stream again. It's been a while. So how about you?
Yes. Well, just so you know, this was not the right answer in America. When someone asks how you do, and you just say good or fine, you don't really elaborate. Like,
Sorry.
I'm
I'm
not
sorry,
doing.
man.
That was actually the first thing I learned when I moved to the United States. I remember that as a youngster, people like asking me, "How are you, Matt?" And I'm like, "Well, not that good actually. Like, I had a cold," and they're like, "Give me that glare." Like, you're not supposed to really engage. It's just a one word answer and move on with your life. So, but I forgive you this time. So, we're so glad that you're here, and we have a lot to cover, a lot of ground to cover. We usually try to do it for an hour, but if it goes 75 minutes, don't hate us. I see people are slowly coming into the chat, and just so you know, in case you don't know how this works here, we are going to go through topic. At the end of each topic, we're going to answer questions that are um, related or apply to that particular topic. And all other questions that you throw out there, as much as we would love to answer them, they will be held until the very end when we can talk about it, because we're trying to have somewhat of a structure. And I do see that a bunch of people already in the chat. They're so happy to see you, Roy. I see Ari Blue Noir Shackman says, so good to see you both. And Billy the Extinguisher is, of course, back in the house. ESC Veggie, Eileen Nerhag, and all of the rest, of course. So let's get right into this because we got a bunch of things to talk about. And the first thing we're going to talk about, I'm sure some of you are just leaving the other stream in Norway, the Norwegian Melody Grand Prix semi-final 3.
I think so far this was probably my least favorite of the three. I guess they really use all of the good songs in the first semi-final. I thought these were a bit lackluster compared to what we've already had. Nonetheless, it was still quite good, and the Norwegian standard was high again. I thought vocally, three of the four artists were really good. And yeah, I enjoyed the show overall again, but getting maybe a little bit tired of it.
2 days ago, I believe, just listening to the songs, and I thought that it wasn't that good either. I was like, this is overall one of the weaker semis, but for some reason, I really thought it was actually not that bad. I think compared to some of the other semis, I found that the um, the um, the songs weren't good, but the live vocals were better than a lot of the other shows that we've had. And I thought it really won me over live. So that to me is a good thing, because if you watch the video, again, I was a little bit more critical, but I'm revising what I said. And I told in the video, disclaimer, this is always subject to change because, live can do a lot of different feelings with you. But let's go through it one by one. We had 4 songs in the running, and how it works are randomly then put together in duels, and then one song from each duel moves on to the gold duel, and then the winner of that particular group will then move on to the grand final. So the first group we've had was Alexandra Pink Jacket and Siguba Kjere Du. So Roy, I'll give you the floor first.
Mm.
What was your thought between those two songs? Your feelings?
Yeah,
Go.
well, Pink Jacket is like such a silly song, right? Lyrically, it just makes no sense to sing about a product. I have my pink jacket on and I feel amazing. I mean, nobody really cares about that, right? But I thought it was vocally really, really good. Out of everyone, I think he may have been the best vocally out of all of the songs so far. It literally sounded like the studio track was playing while he was singing, and that is insane to me. Now, still, it is a bit of a silly song, like I said, and I don't think it would have had any rights to win. Maybe it could have won the duel, but I don't think it should have gone to the final in any way. But that's besides the point. You want me to cover the second one as well already, or?
Right ahead.
Well, the second one I was not the biggest of favorites of, and I know you'll hate me for that because I know that you like the song a lot.
I hate you.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. We're
It's not okay. Now go ahead. Sorry.
okay. Yeah, but live they were obviously giving a good show, and I can definitely see why it won out of the two. You just see that the experience that they had on stage really carried them through. Yeah, I think that all in all, the right group won in the first duel, but I would like to see Alexandru come back with a different song maybe next year or a year or two later.
There are a few things I agree with what you said, and a few things where I have a different take on. I will give you that. Alexander surprised me vocally. I think he sounded really good. Granted, they always get the support from the backing track that is recorded, but you still got to give credit where it's due. He sounded way better than I anticipated. So definitely one of his better performances, for better vocals and most surprising vocals, I should say. That's why I said tonight was the night of great vocals. To me, in the review, I already said I don't like the song. And after tonight's performance, that still applies. I had so many issues with the cliches and this whole pink jacket thing, and I was hoping they're gonna go at least a little less literal, but they did because he had this big ass pink jacket in the back singing about him. Oh my god, this is so bad, and I just can't get over the lyrics about walking through LA streets and just like, it's like hell yeah, and I'm like, oh god, it's definitely catered to a younger crowd, and it's not as accessible for people like me. So I had issues from the beginning to the end. I don't think it looked good, but I felt as it was a little contrived. It tried so hard to be modern and relevant, but I missed the soul and the character personality in the song. So I couldn't get into it. But I also say he sounded good, so that I agree with this. And yes, and where we do disagree is Sigupa, but I know that when I did my video, I didn't think anyone else would like it. I thought I would be alone. Was even more into it. They sounded so good, and yes, it's very traditional folk, local folk soundish kind of music, which is hit or miss with me as well. But I felt genuine. I loved the singer's vocals as well. I just thought it came together. It didn't try hard to be something that it's not, and I just found it insanely charming and just catchy and uplifting. So when it came down to the duel, I was like, it has to be Sigupa. Anything else would be a crime. So I'm glad it went the way it did. And clearly you agree with that, even though you didn't care for the song. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm hearing, and I totally see what you mean with the pink jacket performance. It was just a bit too much in your face, I guess. It literally looked like he was putting the pink jacket on a pedestal in the beginning, and it was like, whoa, look at this holy pink jacket. It's so amazing. And I was like, yeah, well, that may work on a kid show, but this is not a kid show anymore. Yeah, I think the right person won, definitely.
Yes, and I agree with you. Maybe he can come back in the future with a different song. I think what he needs is find himself as an artist. And I say that a lot, especially with the young. Not all younger artists are like that. Some people are early on. This is who I am. This is my kind of music, and this is what I want to do. This felt very forced onto him, and they tried really hard, and it just, as I said, it lacked personality. It lacked soul. Once he finds himself as an artist, and even if it's that kind of style, at least If it's more like the Justin Timberlake route or whatever he may do, it's fine. But it just, there was such a disconnect there. It just felt like, yeah, sing the song. It's about a pink jacket. And it's just, I'm like, no, I couldn't do it. So I'm glad also the way this duel actually ended up. And I do see that in the chat, for the most part, people tend to agree with us, which is nice. Not that we're seeking always approval, but hey, I do like that as well. So we moved on to the second group of songs. It was between Thomas and Erica singing Vertigo and Kristen singing Pray For Me. I don't always have to go first, Roy, to put the pressure on you, so I'm going to talk first on this one. In my video, I was clearly, my reaction video, rooting for Kristen. Pray For Me. I still feel what I've said in the video is accurate. It's the only thing it's lacking, because I do think it's a great song. It's Adele-inspired, Rolling in the Deep. I miss the big moment in the chorus. The memorable chorus is maybe missing, but the live performance was fantastic. The staging was good. Her voice was so on top and spot, and it was so good. I was like, oh my God, this has to go through. This has to go through. And it's quality. It's just a quality song to me, and it's just a good, I don't even know what else to say. I was thrilled with the performance, and it was clearly the favorite for me between those two. Vertigo was just somewhere in between for me when I watched it, when I listened to it. I must say tonight, though, he brought out the emotions, and I actually enjoyed the performance. I thought they all sounded good vocally, and when he started crying, I think it was his kids, he just kind of, oh, I'm a sucker for that. I'm like, you go! But you have to put emotions aside and look at the two songs, and objectively, to me, Pray For Me was just superior. And that's one of the pet peeves I have with these talent singing shows like American Idol, where you have that song, oh, I lived in my car for 2 years and then I had to miss the child of my birth so I can be here. Well, first of all, it makes you a shitty dad for not being there with your child. And I don't necessarily care about your story. I care about the song. And that is one of my pet peeves with these singing talent shows. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I think that one was definitely the best song. It went through. And how about you, Roy?
Yeah, I think the right song definitely won. I think her performance in general was just a bit better, a bit more smooth, maybe a bit more thought through as well. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it came alive a bit more when I heard it with the live vocals of her. On a studio track, it was a bit like hit or miss for me. One time listening to it, I really enjoyed it, and the other time I was like, yeah, I could do without. But live, it did become a lot better for me, and I am glad that it won this duel. As for the duet, Vertigo, I think the guy was a bit off sometimes, and that made me put off a little bit. But when the duet part really started to come together and they were harmonizing with one another, and especially when the kids choir, which is a little bit weird that they have kids on the stage. It's not that late, I guess, but in Eurovision it wouldn't work anyway. But when they started harmonizing, I really started to get into the song again. But I guess that was a bit too late to win this duel for me.
Yes. Now, I'm with you on that one. I think you really summed up. So both of us agree that the song should have gone through to the next round. And I'm just looking at the comments here again, and I do feel as they seem to be in line. I missed a few of them. But yeah, so far so good. The Norwegian folks got it right. So that meant we had the duel between Siguba, Kieredu, is that how you say it? And Kristen Hussoy, Pray For Me. And spoiler alert, in case you haven't watched the show, leave now and watch it later. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I warned you. Pray For Me, Kristen won the show. I mean, won that duel as well. Therefore, is going to join the lineup of Melodi Grand Prix in the finals. And I'm going to ask the obvious for you, Roy. I assume you are. Do you agree with the outcome?
Unfortunately for you, yes, I do agree.
Boo.
The guys from whoa, I forgot their name. Siguba, yes, that's it. I find it cute that they went to the final because it was like their 25th anniversary, and that's why they entered the competition. but I don't think they had any real business in the final. If they were to go to the final, it didn't have any shot at all of winning it. I think Kristen's song is a bit more interesting for a broader audience, and if she didn't win, I think that would be a little bit unfortunate because she's still a young and aspiring artist as well, and I would always like back those more than the already established guys, even though they were cool to have in the competition, I guess. But yeah, I'm very pleased with who won today.
Okay, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. This was my top two. So I was very happy with the outcome, and this was probably the most difficult gold duel for me to root for, because I like them both, and I saw the pros and cons for both songs. And even though I personally probably would have put See Gooba through, I am anything but upset about Kristen's qualification, because it was a fantastic song and she was a close second for me. And I do agree that she probably has a better chance in the finals. I don't always necessarily just look at the odds of someone doing well, because I do feel as this would have added just a little bit more diversity, because almost every song is in English, and I wish we had a little bit more diversity. But I hear what you're saying, and I agree with it. Interestingly enough, I also want to point out that this is the third time in a row, if you watch my reaction video, that my second placer in my ranking ends up winning. So whoever I put in second place next week in semifinal 4 in my ranking video will win. So put money down. I shouldn't say that, because then I'm going to get into trouble. That whole word, right? So it's just funny to me how it happened like 3 weeks in a row my second placer has won. But at least we had a little switch up, because the first 2 weeks my first place was eliminated in the very first round. At least now my favorite made it to the gold duel, at least. So that was quite encouraging. And Roy, one last question about this. In case you guys don't pay attention, but there are already a bunch of pre-qualified songs in the running. They are already pre-qualified by the producers or the jury, a committee that chose the songs, and they all each act gets to perform in one of the semis. Tonight it was Akuvi with Som Duel. She's already in the final, so she just performed it to kind of get a little bit more exposure. How did you feel about that song, Roy?
To me, it's the first time when I saw the performance and I listened to the song, I was like, well, now I can see why it is already in the final. I think the other two nights, it was like, is this really deserving more of a spot than the songs that are competing tonight? And, you know, I'm not so sure, but this time around, I felt like this is a cool, unique song. The performance was really good. I thought she was good vocally. It was Danish mixed with a little bit of English, so you don't only have English songs in the selection anymore, which is always good. But yeah, I thought it was quite a good performance for once, and I'm really glad to see her in the final.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I had a slightly different take on the song. With the other ones, I agree. I'm like, I don't know how they are the ones that directly qualified. It feels unfair anyway. I didn't feel this one. I thought it was melodically it felt like the staging, the show itself was great. I loved the dancing and all of that stuff. But I felt like I get that with Riley and Wild, similar, but I thought she did it better with a song that was a whole lot more memorable and fun. And that was my biggest concern. I don't think that this is melodically anything outstanding or remarkable. Like, I'm trying to remember what the melody was of the song. That's a good thing. She was good, though, and all of that stuff, so I don't necessarily feel, but the song to me just kind of went past me. So I like probably every single qualifier from the semis better than any of the direct qualifiers so far. So if I had to pick a top 3, those were my top 3. None of